Good morning, everybody. It's Monday. Two apologies to start the day off. Um, Saturday, I completely missed um, the Savage Preachers because of a stomach issue I was having, and it barely pulled out by the time Too Strong came around. Um, and then yesterday, I just decided to take a day. I needed to rest, and I tried to rest as much as I could. So that's why we didn't have any Bible study on Sunday. My body was just done. So I just took a day. So I apologize for not saying I know I normally do, but I really had no energy to do anything yesterday whatsoever. Today, however, um, we're going to be covering a another bombshell in the Christian world. Um, this one is by far way worse than what we talked about with the last preacher, and this one is, man, I don't even know where to start with this one. Where Tony did not divulge what he did, what this one did, anyway, it's bad. It's bad. In case y'all don't know who Robert Morris is, he is the preacher of a very large congregation, one of the biggest, if not the biggest, in America. And the accusation is that of a heinous nature. And I mean absolutely heinous nature. But where most people are talking about it from the aspect of the um, the church, there is a far more um, involved aspect to this particular case, and that's the aspect I'm going to come at it because it will affect the whole preacher aspect of it. So I'll read you the letter first. This is it, okay? Man, Pastor Robert has been open. I want to make sure we get the whole context here. He's the founder of Gateway Church in Texas, has admitted to involvement in inappropriate sexual behavior with a young lady. Inappropriate sexual behavior with a young lady. After a woman accused him of sexually abusing her in December of 1982 through March of 1987, beginning when she was 12 years old. 12. She was 12. He was in his 20s. He was already a preacher by this point. The blog dealing with abuse in the church broke the story with a detailed account of the abuse from the alleged victim, now 54, who said she did not view the relationship with Morris as abuse until she was 35. This is a statement they put out. Pastor Robert has been open and forthright about his moral failure he had 35 years ago when he was in his 20s, and prior to him starting Gateway Church, he had shared publicly from the pulpit the proper biblical steps he took and his lengthy restoration process. Right. Excuse me. The 2-year restoration process was closely administered by the elders at Shady Grove Church and included him stepping out of the ministry during that period while receiving professional counseling and freedom ministry counseling. Mr. Roberts stated, "When I was in my early 20s, I was involved in an inappropriate sexual behavior with a young lady in a home where I was staying. It was kissing and petting and not intercourse, but it was wrong. This behavior happened on several occasions over the next few years. In March of 1987, the situation was brought to light and it was confessed and repented. I submitted myself to the elders of Shady Grove Church and the young lady's father. They asked me to step out of ministry and receive counseling and freedom ministry, which I did. Since that time, I have walked in purity and accountability in that area. 2 years later, in 89, I stepped back into ministry with the full blessing of the elders and her father. In October of 1989, Debbie and I met with her family, and I asked their forgiveness, and they graciously forgave me. The sin was dealt with correctly by confession and repentance, which I did in 1987 and 1989. All right. I have a very different take on this simply because it is in an area that is and does start with sexual addiction, pornography, stuff like that. I will tell you this much. He did not stop because he wanted to. He did not come forward. He was caught. Big difference. I know because that's exactly how it was for me. You see, when you're caught, you stop, but you don't stop willingly. You stop begrudgingly, and you get this anger and this rage, and you still want to defend yourself, which is what he did in that letter. If you notice what he said in the letter and how he said it, he tried to make it not look as bad as it was. In his mind, if he could say it was this, but not the same way with Evans, I did something wrong, but it wasn't a crime. I did something wrong, but it wasn't intercourse. They're justifying the thing he did by saying it wasn't as bad as it could be. That's what he's saying. It's not as bad as it could be. It could have been worse. I could have done more. The only reason he didn't do more was because it got cut off because somebody spoke. Somebody spoke. Somebody ratted you out. That girl ratted you out, or somebody ratted you out. So you came forward. The problem I have, although I do have a massive problem with the way they say they handled it, he should have been turned into the authorities. I don't care who you are, preacher or not, he should have been arrested. He should have been arrested and placed in jail for inappropriate contact with a minor. And he should have been on the registry and never been allowed to get into the pulpit at all. At all. Be forgiven all you want, but you are in no moral position to do anything. You are no longer above reproach to the public. If you are no longer above reproach, you cannot be in that. You can't. You can't call yourself a minister, pastor, none of that stuff. You're no longer eligible. You're done. You should have been in prison, and you should have been listed as a pedophile. That's what you should have been. Yes, it should have been done. I took a look into something because people have been asking why she took so long to come forward. Well, this might have been part of the reason why. In Texas, the statute of limitation used to be 15 years from their 18th birthday, which would have put her at 35 years old. Like the letter stated, she was older when she realized that was abuse. Past the statute of limitations, there was nothing she could say about it. However, However, in 2019, HB 3809 doubled the statute of limitation. So now survivors have 30 years from their 18th birthday, which would make it perfect for her to come forward now. Now she can come forward and get the justice that her father, unfortunately, didn't give her. Because no doubt the father was probably a worshiper of this man. Now, if you can hold a man above that of the purpose that you're supposed to be protecting, you're a horrible father. You're worthless. You're a trash father. You might as well been the one abusing your child. How in the world can you hear that your child was touched and you do nothing? Are you insane? Preacher, or look, you losing something. Freedom or life, but you losing something. You ain't getting away with that. No. And especially you're not gonna get put in a position where you can actually be even more around kids. No, heck, no. And the only reason you're sorry because you got caught 3 times over, no. Nah. Mm-mm. No, sirree, Bob. You ain't getting away with that one. You're gonna be put in a registry. Have peace and unity with God all on your own. But as far as the public goes, you're on the registry. Now the question becomes, is that biblical? Yeah, it is. Romans 13, let every soul be subject to the governing authorities, for there is no authority except God, and the authorities that exist are appointed by God. Therefore, whoever resists the authorities resists the ordinance of God, and those who will resist will bring judgment on themselves. For rulers are not a terror to good works, but to evil. Do you want to be afraid of the authority? Do what is good, and you will have praise from the same. Do good. But if you do evil, be afraid, for he does not bear the sword in vain, for he is God's minister, an avenger to execute wrath on him who practices evil. We keep thinking that men can hide behind the cloth, because that's what they do. They do hide behind the cloth. A lot of preachers hide behind the so-called cloth. Same way priests get away with abusing children all the time. They hide behind the cloth. They're protected. When it should be the opposite. You should be relinquished to the courts for that. Because one, you've already violated God's rule. And now you secondarily will violate man's law. So you should be under no protection at all from either one. You should be under no protection from either one. And I want you to hear how the timeline he's going to give is a little bit different than the timeline that we are told in the letter that he even addressed. Okay? Just you got to hear it. So here you go.
And could keep us away from Christ and this weak rebellious roots. My rebellion took a form of immorality that I don't like to talk about much. I was very sexually immoral as a teenager.
Notice the time frame he tells you. Did you catch that? The incident happened while he was in his 20s and already in a position of ministry. Now he's telling you a story about he was used to be a lot more loose when he was a teenager. Just listen.
And it started early in my life, and it was very easy for me. Now I'm going to share something with you that I've really had to struggle with sharing the details, things that I'm going to be sharing with you today. But when I say it was easy for me, I was very immoral, and I was immoral a lot. And I can remember a conversation with my friends, and they said, the one of them said, "You're just blessed."
Now, understand this. When speaking about a sin that you say that you've relinquished, you know what? You won't speak about it like fondly. You will not speak fondly of it as though the memory is something that you just look back on and thought, those were good conversations. Those were good conversations. It gets so much worse.
That's what they said. Because we would go out and meet girls, and I would end up being immoral just in one night. And so they began actually. It's so horrible to share this.
Then why are you sharing it? If it's so horrible to share it, listen to how you're saying it. You are saying that your friends thought it was so cool, that you were blessed, and that you're going on and on, still going on. You could have easily left it there. You want to go on about the fact that you used to be immoral a lot, and you could get any girl, and that was a plan. Now he's gonna go. He says it's horrible to talk about, but he continues to go on about it, and not just in detail, but braggadociously. When I tell you it gets worse, it gets worse. Wait.
Because of what the word blessed means to me now. And that I've written a book called The Blessed Life, and it's about giving, not taking. And it's about giving to give, not giving to get. So it's the total opposite of the way I was before I met Christ. Here's what I've realized. I was not blessed, I was cursed.
Remember, he's still talking about his teenage years, okay? All right.
There was a curse on my life where immorality came easy for me.
No. You're not going to put that on a curse. That was not a curse. Those were choices. You chose. Statements like he's making is the way to get out. I wasn't in control. I was cursed. I was fighting this other thing that was a part of me, and I couldn't shake it. That is how they want you to look at this.
In other words, there was a bent toward that. I'm going to show you that the Lord showed me what the root of that curse was. The reason I'm going to show you is because I think if there's a bent toward your life toward a certain sin, maybe God could show you the root, and you could cut the root off and not have that fruit anymore. You understand what I'm saying?
First of all, we don't do that. He does that. You don't cut anything off. You don't have that authority.
I learned to lie and manipulate because I also had rejection. I didn't want to be rejected. So I looked for the girls that would be the most susceptible. And I learned how to spot this in girls. Please hear me. There's a reason I'm sharing this. The very thing, ladies, that the world tells you to give a man before marriage so that you can keep him is the very thing that will cause you to lose him.
Did you see? Did you catch the blame flip? Did you catch the blame flip? Any of you catch that blame flip? Did you see how smooth that blame flip was? Ladies, don't give it up. Wow. Look, he's good. He's good. He is good at what he does. Ladies, don't. Man.
I looked for girls that did not have a good relationship with their father. I learned to spot that. I looked for girls that were insecure. And I don't know. Now I look back on this, I can tell I did it. It wasn't like a plan that I had, but I could spot this.
But you just said that's what you did. So now you've lied. You literally just said that you made sure to go after girls that had poor relationship with their father. You literally out of your own stupid mouth just said that. You just finished admitting that your plan, your goal was to get insecure women. Now you're telling me it wasn't a plan? Because it just happened. Wow.
Girls were made to be held by men. And if they are not held, if that need is not met in a healthy way by their father, they will meet it in an unhealthy way.
Now it's the woman's fault. Now it's the girl's fault because she's looking for something that she didn't get. Do you see how he's building this up to make sure that people look at the 12-year-old as the problem? Not him. His was a curse. Hers was a choice. Do you see that? The woman, choice. Him, curse. Bro.
But you need to understand that if a man does not respect you, he cannot love you. He cannot love you. As a matter of fact, fulfilled lust turns to hate. And I wish I had time to show you the whole passage. 2 Samuel 13 talks about Amnon and Tamar, and that Amnon really loved her. He loved her, and that Tamar loved him. But Amnon forces her and rapes her. And then I want to just show you one verse. Really, I'd love for you to read the whole chapter later. Verse 15 says, then Amnon, this is right after it happens, then Amnon hated her exceedingly, so that the hatred with which he hated her was greater than the love with which he had loved her. And Amnon said, arise and be gone. And she said, no, please don't send me away. And he actually calls a servant and says, throw this woman out and bolt the door behind her.
This guy is the epitome of slick. Like he's slick. He is slick, real slick. You see how quickly he went away from him and straight into the female and went into a whole nother story that had nothing to do with him to try and take the focus off of him. Do you see how smoothly he did that? They're good. I'm going to let him continue here.
God meant for us to express love in a healthy way. Because of the lust that was in my life, it has taken years for me to get over the images and the things that I saw that no person should have ever seen. And the appetites that were created in me that God never intended to be created in me. Please understand that when God says don't, there's a reason. And I'll just give you one quick so that hopefully you'll understand this. In order to have premarital sex, you have to sneak around to do it. And you have to lie, and you have to be deceptive, and you have to be manipulative. You have, for instance, let me just take a teenage couple. When the teenager is about to go out and the parents say, where y'all going tonight? They don't say, we're going to have sex. So they have to lie. And then when they come back, where'd you go? What'd you do? They have to lie. So you learn to lie. You learn to be deceptive. And you get this feeling in you of adrenaline rush because you're doing something that you shouldn't be doing. But once you get married, you don't have to sneak around anymore. But you've developed an appetite for sneaking around sex that sex in marriage can never satisfy that appetite because you don't have to sneak around. And this is why a man will begin to talk to someone at the office and begin to flirt. And he is satisfying, and I'm going to say this in a very strong way, but he's satisfying an appetite that you created in him.
You catch that? Did you get it? Did you just get what he just said? You sneak around as a teenager, and when you get married, the reason that the man decides to cheat is because the woman created that thing for him to do. What? This is in an effort to take the blame off of him. He is saying that women will allow you to do stuff, and they ought not to allow you to do stuff. If you do stuff, it's because you're cursed, or it's just poor decision making. But a woman, she gives in. It is her choice. Wow.
And I'm not saying that it's right, but I'm trying to get you to understand how important it is not to create an appetite in someone before your marriage. Don't stir up love before it's time, Song of Solomon says. And what will happen is this man will begin to have an affair, and now he's sneaking around. And he'll begin to feel like with her like he felt with you before you got married.
Always back to the woman being at fault. Right back to the woman being at fault. Not him, not the man. Her. She's the problem. You allowed it. You created it. This is your fault. That is insane to me.
And he associates that feeling with love. So he'll begin to think that he loves her and not you. So he divorces you, marries her, and guess what? He doesn't have to sneak around anymore. This is why many men will say, it's just not the same. It's just not the same. And then they will bring things into their sex life that God didn't intend to try to spice it up, quote unquote. It's not the same.
You mean like you did with the 12-year-old? That's how you spice it up? I mean, granted, you may not have been married at the time, but is that how you spice it up? Okay.
Because you create an appetite. I'm telling you that my wife and I, we had to deal with things that we should not have had to deal with because of my sin. And I asked the Lord after I got saved, God, what was the root? Why? You know, they said I was blessed. I know I wasn't blessed. I was cursed. Multiple affairs. And I don't understand this, God. And so
No, you do understand it. Trust. Okay, let's not play this game. Let's not play this game. Okay, I'm not going to let him play this game. Speaking as somebody who has been on that side of the field, you know. Do not believe anyone that tells you they didn't know. BS, lies, straight from the pits of hell, you know. And you know exactly why you're doing it. And it is not somebody else's fault. It is all you, all choice, all decision making. Stop with the cap. You intentionally did all those things. Stop trying to blame the devil, asking God some ludicrous question when you know the stinking answer to it, bro. You know the answer. Stop. Just stop. You're being stupid at this point. Just stop. I'm surprised somebody didn't walk up on stage and just slap the ever-living lights out of you. I am surprised that some good man didn't step up on stage and absolutely Will Smith you. I am surprised. I wish somebody did. If there ever was a situation where Will Smith needed to be present and Chris Rock needed to take your place, it would have been this situation here. Somebody need to rock your joint. You are insane, homie. You're insane. Absolutely insane.
what was the root? What was the open door in my life? And I want to show you a scripture I showed you a few weeks ago, but it's going to kind of shock you when you see this. Hebrews 12, verses 15 and 16 says, looking carefully lest anyone fall short of the grace of God, lest any root of bitterness springing up cause trouble, and by this many become defiled. This word means morally defiled. Many, this is my life. What you're reading this verse is my life. Many became morally defiled. Now watch the very next verse, but it's the same sentence. And I just want to take the first 5 words. Lest there be any fornicator. It goes on, or profane person among you. Okay, lest there be a fornicator. Don't let a root of bitterness spring up, or many will be morally defiled, because there will be a fornicator among you. I was the fornicator. And I believe this open door in my life was because there was a root of bitterness in our family. And when I share with you what happened that I've never shared publicly, and I got my mother's permission to share this week, you'll understand why there was bitterness in our family.
He got married in 1980. The first event happened in 1982 to 87. If you notice how he says it, it was just affairs, not child molestation. It was affairs, not child molestation. He's worth nearly $50 million. He's 62 years old. And he started preaching in his 20s. This is far beyond a issue with a sin. Far, far beyond that. This has become a legal matter. This should have been a legal matter in 82 and 87, but it never became that. The lady's father should have been the first one to press charges against that man, and he didn't, which makes you father, a disgusting piece of trash as a father. You don't deserve the title of father. You do not deserve the title dad. It should be absolutely stripped from you because of the type of trash human being you are. Double the trash is Morris, who kept doing this for 5 years. 5 years. I would even dare say that his wife is stupid for staying if she knew. That should be right off the top your sign to say, nah, fam, you out. Nah, no. We ain't doing that. It's not even an adult. That'd be one thing. Kids, nah, you gone. You gone, bro. Gone. Nope, we ain't doing that. I really don't care. I don't care if people don't want to judge him. He admitted to inappropriate contact with a minor. This has nothing to do with judgment. He admitted to it. It is pretty blatantly obvious to me that he should be in jail. At minimum, on the registry. If he did it to one, he's probably done it to more. And I guarantee you, if this lady brings a case forward, you're going to see more kids during that time that he did touch. I will bet money right now that if this lady goes forward you're going to hear multiple others come forward and say, yeah, me too. Yeah, he did it to me too. Wouldn't be surprised if little boys show up too in this. Because, yeah, I'm going to say it, he has that vibe. He has that vibe. He should have been removed from the ministry completely. Completely. I don't want to hear this talk about working your way back into the good graces. You cannot work yourself back into the good graces when you're on a registry, which is why they never took it to court, which is where it should have gone. But you didn't. The church failed her. Her father failed her. The pastor failed her. The law failed her. And she should indeed 100% bring charges against that man for what he did. And he should serve a long prison sentence for what he did. And he should permanently stay on the sex offender registry and should never be allowed behind the pulpit again. You should be staying in your cell and you could catch up with God in there. Rectify your wrongs in there. Walk your walk out in there, but you don't get to go back behind the pulpit. You're no longer qualified. You are disqualified. You're disqualified. This is the kind of stuff that makes people doubt. And which is why, you remember when God said that this was an area that people should not be clamoring to get into because you will be judged more harshly. But for some reason, the church doesn't want to judge them harshly. They want to give them all kinds of leeway. God said he's going to judge teachers and preachers way more difficultly and tough, but we somehow give them passes all around the board. Do you not realize by doing that, you are increasing the punishment that they're going to get at the end? By giving them rope and leeway and pass after pass, you are increasing their punishment at the end of all things. If you say you care about your pastor, you probably want to hold them to account. Because the more you let them slide, the more they believe they're fine, and you are damning them more than anything else. Because you refuse to address stuff. They should be the ones that get no passes at all. And they should not be looking for any. They should not be looking for any. To me, this whole situation is going to end up really, really putting a stain on the title, the office of preacher. The good thing is that a true preacher will still survive this because a true preacher wouldn't be involved in it. This is insane to me. But threes, right? Usually it's in threes. There should be another one falling soon. There'll be another one falling soon. The question is who? The question is who? Teresa, trust me, your anger is shared. Your anger is shared. I don't know how this is going to end, and I really do hope that this young lady gets some sort of justice. I hope she takes him to court directly. I hope that she sues the living daylights out of him and the whole congregation that was behind this. I hope every last one of them goes down. I hope it shuts down the entirety of that church. I hope all of the elders, every last one of them, are held as accomplices in this, including her father, and they all get jail time. That's my wish. They either get extreme jail times or they get a massive penalty that they have to pay to the point where they can no longer keep that farce of a church open. It will not bring back her innocence, I understand that, but it will send a strong message. And I hope she opens a fund where girls and young boys who are abused like that can dip into and sue all and every preacher that does this kind of crap. You're not a pastor, Robert Morris. You're a dirty, stinking, low-down scoundrel, a perv, a pedophile. That's what you are. You're not a preacher. You're a pedo. You're a child molesting pedophile piece of crap. And you deserve jail time to the nth degree. For the rest of your life, you should not be walking free. You should be in jail for the rest of your life. In fact, you and your wife should be behind bars. You're a pedophile. But you're going to see people defend you. Defend to the nth degree. Just keep defending. Then there'll be the same people that turn around and say, why don't people come to church? Because of people like you who defend evil and watch it happening. And then you say stupid crap like, don't touch God's anointed. Same idiots that defend people like T.D. Jakes. It's the oil. It's God's anointed. I'll call you what you are. Bloody fools. All of you that defend that behavior, you're fools. But keep defending them. Have your fun defending them. Be stupid. You can look, you can afford to be stupid. Be stupid. Don't try and act smart though. When everything ends, don't try and come around and try to behave like you're intelligent at that point. This man's a sicko. Everything from the fact that you tried to make it look like it was a teenage excursion you had. Everything after that point, trying to tell women that they're the problem, it's their fault. You're the reason why men do this. You are the reason. You can stop it. It's your fault. You. Never pointed a finger at himself other than I was cursed and I know I wasn't living right. That's it. That's what we get. And make sure you give. Listen carefully, Susan. As a father, this is not like the man talked about your child. This man raped your child for 4 years. 4 years. He would have been eating all his teeth. He'd have been chewing out his behind when I was done with him. You gonna molest my kid for 4 years? While you were staying under my roof. Listen carefully. He stayed in their house and raped their daughter for 4 straight years. I would have chopped your thing off and fried it in front of you. I'm not even kidding you. That thing would be non-functional in a split second. I would have made you a eunuch. I would have helped you serve God unequivocally, and your lust would have no more impact on you, I'd have chopped that thing right off. Then I would have cauterized it with a branding iron so that you could not do anything past that point. That'd be me. Don't come near my daughter again. And I'm still going to that congregation listening to your nonsensical behind talk? Nah. No. That's not a father. That's a caretaker. 4 years? Closer to 5? Under my roof? To my yeah, nah. My job is to protect my child. And if I knew that happened and I failed that badly after cussing myself out, I'd take care of the threat. Because you're never going to touch another child like that again. If you have hands or something to penetrate with, it's not going to be there anymore. At the minimum, I'm calling the cops. I'm not going to no church. I'm calling the cops and you going to jail. You're going straight to jail. And you're getting put on a registry so that nobody touches you again. So no, her father did not do anything for her. That is nonsense. That is absolute nonsense. That don't make no sense to me. This is far beyond just an internal fix for the so-called church he's a part of. This is more than just a sin. This is a crime. This is more than just sin. This is a breaking of law that we are required to follow. Caesar to Caesar financially, and follow the laws of the land. Thirdly, you're supposed to be above reproach as someone in leadership, and he is not above reproach now. He should not be in there. All signs lead to not only stepping down, but stepping away and absolute removal from any and all leadership roles. You're done as a leader. You are now a servant, and a servant only. You don't get to lead nothing. Nope. You lead nothing. You go sit down and shut up. And he needs to be sitting in a cell because he's a disgusting pedophile. Plain and simple. And nobody else is going to say it. And you're not going to see no more other Christian channels say it. That's fine. They don't need to be the one saying it. I'll say it for you. Robert Morris is a actual direct linked pedophile for the touching of a 12-year-old. I don't care how long ago. It is still within the statutes of limitations within Texas, and she needs to take him to court and send him to jail to spend the rest of his doggone life behind bars getting felt up by somebody named Pookie. That's what he deserves. Because he is not repentant. He is not sorry. Otherwise, he's a step down. And he didn't step down. And he wouldn't be blaming women for the crap that he did. He's a sleazebag. He doesn't deserve the title of pastor, preacher, or anything of the sort. The other P word that he should be having in front of his name is not Pastor Robert Morris, it's pedophile Robert Morris. That's your actual title, pedophile Robert Morris. Child abuser Robert Morris. Kitty diddler Robert Morris. Violent criminal Robert Morris. child abuse registrant Robert Morris. Insane. Insane. In any case, Savage Patriots will be on today. We're talking about the draft. Thursday, I will not be on. I'm going to go to the airport to pick up the family coming back in from New Jersey. So I'll be on the road early, so I won't be able to make the show. We'll be back tomorrow and Wednesday. No topic yet for tomorrow, so can't give you that. But we'll be back today on Savage Patriots, and possibly Too Strong. If you didn't catch the conversation we had about Mr. Evans on Too Strong, I would suggest you go find that video and go look it up. It was a really good one, a really good discussion. I think people should. I think you'll like it. I think you'll like the discussion for sure. I think you'll like the discussion. In any case, make sure you go check those out, and we'll catch you today on Savage Patriots at 6:30 Eastern. Don't forget, next month we're, let me see, 24. It's about 30 days away. A little less than 30 days away. So make sure you show up. If you already signed up, good. You can't sign up anymore. So for those of you, like I said, there are about 12 hotels in this town, and they range from cheap to not cheap. So you have your options there to come set yourself up for the event. Okay. We'll catch you guys later today. Make sure you like, share, and if you have not yet subscribed. Scrolling at the bottom, the options to assist after you've spoken to God, of course, not before. And he'll decide. Oh, for those of you who are fathers, happy belated Father's Day to you. Hopefully you had a good one, and that you got some good stuff like rest, and you got kids to do stuff like the lawn. That's what I did. I made sure to put my oldest one to do the lawn for me and have the other one do some dishes. So I tried to do nothing. So that's how I spent mine. So hopefully you guys had a good Father's Day. For the rest of you, thank you again for showing up. Wisdom calls to you from the streets. So please, please, please find wisdom. Peace.
Hold tight the dreams, for if dreams die, rely on yourself and no